Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is John Phillips, co-founder of PredictIt, to discuss what the stock market of politics is saying about the U.S. national election outcome. John, 4 weeks later since we first met, we're finally past that key point of the physical election. So before we get into what PredictIt's saying now, just remind the audience what PredictIt is and how investors use this kind of data.
Thanks, Jill. It seems like it's been a lifetime, right? Which it has been in politics. So wow. So PredictIt, for those who don't know, is a stock market for politics. It's what's called an event or prediction market, and in which traders can invest in an event occurring or not occurring. So it's a pure play on an event, such as an election or a cabinet appointment or an economic indicator of some type. And the value of that investment goes up and down based on the day's news, and sometimes changes by the second, as we saw in the last week. So it's a stock market for politics where you can actually bet on certain events happening.
Now, we knew this election was going to be a drawn-out, contested process. Is there anything new with PredictIt data to share with the audience that shows some more visibility?
Sure. Well, one thing that's really interesting is that, the question is really how could the polls have been so inaccurate, and how is PredictIt in comparison to that? So I got to tell you, we're very, very happy with the performance of the market. And of course, this is tens or hundreds of thousands of traders that I'm talking about, who are the ones that actually set the price and the odds on these events happening. And PredictIt was really the only entity of which I'm aware that nailed the 290 electoral college vote at this point. Now, it depends on how Georgia's going to go and North Carolina. But if they go the way the market's predicting, it'll be a 290 outcome, maybe a little bit higher. Others were predicting a blue wave, which never materialized. Some were predicting a red wave, which didn't materialize. Although it's interesting that the market has now turned its focus on the Georgia special election, for instance, and the two special elections that are coming up on January 5th, because they will really determine control of the United States Senate.
And that was my next question to you. Now that we're finally past the U.S. national election, what's next to watch on PredictIt? As you had mentioned before, cabinet and so forth, but it doesn't seem like this is the last time we'll be referencing the data for sure.
No. And so, in fact, just a couple of minutes ago over the ticker, news of the Secretary of Defense, President Trump fired the Secretary of Defense. And that, those kinds of markets, these cabinet appointments, the firings, the policies such as rejoining the Paris Climate Accord or the WHO, stop the process from withdrawing it. All those policy and political events you can find on PredictIt.
All right, John, great to see you as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill.
You got it. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.